Hi everyone, my name is Eric Stunda and I selected Netflix for my capstone project. A ridiculous VHS late fee in 1994 prompted co-founder Reed Hastings to pursue an innovative delivery strategy in forming Netflix with fellow co-founder Mark Randolph. The company started with a simple business concept, transitioning the movie industry to a subscription-based model that would provide DVDs through a mail-order network. The service took years to get off the ground, but eventually the efficient system won out, disrupting the entire industry and killing competitive giants like Blockbuster and Hollywood. By the mid-2000s, Netflix was ready to innovate again, this time pioneering the distribution of content through an internet streaming service. By 2007, the company launched a streaming segment which initially produced lackluster results. The business ultimately was more scalable than the DVD service, and Netflix began expanding the streaming service in 2010 with Canada. Searching for sustainable competitive advantage, Netflix pursued the development and production of original exclusive video content for its streaming service, which had started in 2013 and has since become a key competitive advantage. Today, Netflix is a world leader in the internet streaming industry with over 139 million members across 190 countries. The modern Netflix Corporation is split internally into three different business segments: domestic streaming, international streaming, and domestic DVDs. All three segments derive their revenue from monthly subscription fees. An organization's vision should answer the question, what do we want to do? Netflix wants to entertain everyone and make the world smile. An organization's mission statement should answer the questions, how do we accomplish our goals? Based on the company's public corporate filings and published governance documents, Netflix does not have an official mission statement, but two main investor statements clarify their focus, where the company is: 1, expanding streaming content; 2, enhancing the user interface; and 3, streaming across more devices. The combined vision and mission statements ultimately drive the company's purpose, which is described as being better entertainment at a lower cost and greater scale. This purpose statement captures the soul of Netflix and acts as the foundation for the firm's overall strategy. As stated in the company's 2018 annual report, Netflix's core strategy is to grow their streaming membership business globally within the parameters of their profit margins. To summarize, the company's strategy is to entertain the world through award-winning content, a superior user experience, all at a relatively low cost. Current key competitors are Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, and YouTube. Each of these companies offer video streaming on demand. Hulu is actually a private joint venture between Disney and Comcast. Prime Video is Netflix's single strongest direct competitor, considering its division of the corporate giant Amazon and their financial resources, while YouTube, which is owned by Google, is an absolute powerhouse, controlling an estimated 37% of global mobile traffic compared to Netflix at only 2.4%. The basis of YouTube's content is different than Netflix, as it's mostly made up of amateur videos that can be viewed for free, but the users are subject to aggressive advertising. Netflix also is going to experience extreme upcoming competition with two new services. One, Disney Plus, which is a subscription on-demand video service that should release in the fall of 2019. This service will be owned and operated by Disney and include all access to their historical video library, as well as new original content, which ultimately presents an enormous challenge for Netflix. Analysts of the streaming industry have mixed perspectives on the degree to which Disney Plus will impact Amazon's membership base. The question is whether the diversification in Netflix's offerings are more diversified than Disney, which is traditionally focused on family-oriented content. And then Apple, another industry giant, is going to introduce Apple TV Plus in the fall of 2019 as well, which will be a streaming platform with only original content that spans most genres. The 5 forces model proved to be the best framework to evaluate the streaming industry. The forces that are exerting the greatest pressure on Netflix include power of consumers, threat of substitutes, and a rivalry among competitors. Power of consumers is high as buyers face very low switching costs. Threat of substitutes is high. Their content can be viewed would be considered any content that can be viewed across internet-capable devices, which includes video games, cable television, mobile devices, and most notably amateur videos on YouTube. And then rivalry among competitors is extremely high. Current rivals, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and Hulu, are highly committed to delivery and profitability of their digital streaming services. The commoditization of the digital streaming industry will likely increase price competition dramatically. Which leads us to the first strategic issue identified, which is Netflix's ability to aggressively grow their membership rates long-term based on these intense external pressures. Regarding an internal analysis, SWOT proved to provide the clearest picture. Regarding strengths, first you have the global audience, which is streaming in 190 different countries. Next, you have an expansive content library with including all genres and consumer demographics. Award-winning original content, including 5 Golden Globe wins in 2019 for Netflix original content, and key competitive advantages, Netflix's ability to have sustained an advertising-free environment. Weaknesses are fairly strong, though, with upfront costs being fixed on the original content and development production, which in turn drives revenue, but at the same time is highly costly for the company. You also have expirations annually of licensed content, which is either expensive to renew or ultimately is dropped and then can potentially upset members, as well as you have increasing debt and capital demands, which are dramatic at Netflix. Opportunities include developing internet innovative interactive movies, which actually enable viewers to make decisions through the storyline and choose multiple endings. Netflix has been bundling memberships through service agreements with T-Mobile and Comcast, which has proved quite beneficial economically for Netflix, as well as there's continued room for expansion. The industry is not near its saturation point. Netflix streaming hours in the US only accounts for 10% of the total TV hours consumed. Threats are strong for Netflix right now, mainly with the intense competition, which was previously discussed. You also have pirated content, which is ultimately impossible to compete with as it's free and basically stolen. As well as another threat that's kind of unique is Netflix relies on Amazon Web Services, which is a cloud support system for owned and operated by Amazon. So it kind of creates a conflict of interest there, and how potentially Amazon could use that against Netflix in the future. Taking a look at the financial analysis of the company, I selected a few different profitability, debt ratios to analyze the firm through. Corporate profitability appears to be strong. The debt to equity measurement compares total liabilities to total shareholders' equity, which is somewhat concerning at the high numbers you see there. For example, in 2018, the company basically has $4 of debt for every $1 of equity. And then observing the dramatic increases in negative free cash flow over the past 5 years presents another alarming trend, combined with the high debt to equity analysis. In addition, the company anticipates negative cash flow to increase further in this upcoming year, totaling approximately negative 3.5 billion. And negative free cash flows is a direct result of the company's massive investments in their original content. This leads to the identification of another strategic issue, which is Netflix's ability to sustain capital investments necessary to continue original content development, creates a need to diversify into a low-cost, high-return content. In order to strengthen the company's competitive position in the past, Netflix has pursued vertical integration, where they have moved into the original shows and movie production, which has proved to be definitely the company's biggest competitive advantage and core competency. They've also strengthened their position through bundling partnerships with companies like Comcast to have their application inherently installed on their cable set-top boxes, as well as T-Mobile packaging a Netflix membership with a T-Mobile cellular membership, as well as they've maintained a massive competitive position by maintaining an ad-free experience throughout their platform's history, which is a key differentiation point from companies like Hulu and YouTube. Their global marketplace, they moved globally, internationally, starting in 2010 with Canada, and have since transitioned international across the world to 190 different countries. This serves as a key competitive advantage for Netflix, as directors and actors want to work with the company on this original content because of the reach that content has, which attracts a lot of considerable talent to their original content. Finally, the Chinese market is restricted based on the People's Republic of China's restrictions on U.S. companies operating there, which at this time is limited, but could prove to be a key competitive advantage for the first streaming business to find a way to operate there. So in summary, we have two macro strategic issues identified. The first is Netflix's ability to aggressively grow the membership base long-term based on intense external pressures, as well as the second is Netflix's ability to sustain capital investments necessary to continue original content development, which is currently high cost but high return, and creates a need to sustain their competitive advantages through a new low-cost, high-return content offering. The identification of these strategic issues has led to my overall recommendation, which is one, to obviously have the company continue to focus on the development of original award-winning content, which has definitely proved to be a true competitive advantage for the service. But my suggestion is to add a streaming video game esports segment to Netflix's service. This allows Netflix to diversify into a substitute product that currently has a dramatic amount of demand, which is why Netflix's competition is with Amazon, with Twitch, and YouTube, with YouTube Gaming, have made great strides, been first movers in this video game streaming segment. Ultimately, it provides a low-cost alternative to expand Netflix's content offering, as most of the content offered by video game streaming comes from amateur content, which you can generally develop a low-cost revenue sharing split with those amateur contributors, which is dramatically lower than the original content that Netflix is developing right now. So a service like this would hopefully add incremental, significant value in terms of membership viewing and acquiring new memberships, maintaining membership base at ultimately a relatively low cost due to the capital restrictions and hurdles that Netflix is currently trying to overcome. The worldwide audience of 850 million members is anticipated, or was expected, in 2018, which is massive considering Netflix's current membership basis of only 139 million. So the esports video game streaming segment has massive growth opportunities and is nowhere near a point of saturation either. Ultimately, that is my recommendation for Netflix. I'd like to see in 3 to 5 years that their board pursues this and they become the industry leader in video game streaming, as well as maintaining their industry lead in the historic digital streaming industry. Ultimately, that is my presentation. I thank all of you for watching, and I really enjoyed working with all of you this semester. Thank you.